Hey, homies. Welcome back. As you can tell, I got shorter. My hair got shorter. I think I'm still 5'2". Shorty like a melody in my head. My hair's short, I'm just a new bitch. I'm a new person. I'm here to talk about my recovery journey and where I am now in life. I don't know, man. I like making these, updating y'all. Y'all seem to like it. I am in a really good place right now. I just found out I have an internship in the summer, writing about food. So, oh my gosh, look at me go. That's what's going on in my life. And I'd like to just kind of talk to y'all a bit more about how I'm recovering in my eating disorder. In an eating disorder, I don't know if you really do overcome the thoughts that come into your mind, but you do decide to listen to them or to not listen to them. Over a bit of time, I've learned that Bethany, I've introduced you to Bethany. She's doing her thing. She's up in my head at times. And this doesn't have to be a bad thing. From amazing people I've met who have taught me that you have a relationship with everything. So if those are positive relationships, you can kind of live and lead a positive life. If I see Bethany as something positive, as something purposeful, then I can live and lead a purposeful, meaningful life. I'm really proud of myself and where I've come. I was in a place where I did not like my life and I did not like living it. It was all these anxious thoughts all the time. I thought that by being someone who pushes myself to do things that are hard constantly with little flexibility, little self-compassion, very strict life, I thought that was, me succeeding. And it's really not, because did I do that with a smile? Usually not, and if I did, I didn't feel it long term. A lot of eating disorder comes with short-term gratification. I definitely did cope with a lot of my emotional needs not being met by restricting and over-exercising and beating myself up. I wanted to be in control of my life. And I wasn't. My life is not all about my eating disorder, even if it is a lot about my recovery in it. I'm learning to live a life that's Annika's and not following what Bethany has to say. I think that's a big part of where I am right now, is Bethany is there, and she's going to be there for a while, because healing is not going to be fast. Important things, they take time. This will take time, but it's very important to me, and I think going through the process of imperfection and, good days and bad days, it's slow, but every little step is a step in the right direction, and I'm allowed to have bad days. But I don't want to live a life with self-hatred, and I don't want to live a life full of guilt and shame and not seeing life for how beautiful it is, I guess. I guess everything around me was tuned out while I just sat in this little world full of food that I couldn't have and exercise that I needed to do, or else I would feel out of control. I felt like it was the end of the world if I didn't work out. Every day, But now I'm in a place where I'm more than just my exercise, and I'm more than just the food I eat. I'm more than just numbers. And this goes like academically too. I don't see myself as numbers. I see myself as if I'm putting my heart into it, if I have the passion for it. There's a lot of superficial, surface level things that kind of put us in a title or a conclusion of who we are. And I think that people are very complex, and just saying that, hey, you're a bad student because you didn't get this grade, or hey, you're lazy because you weigh this amount of weight. Black and white thinking right there, and that's what even the eating disorder did for me, was just lead me to get to these conclusions where either good or bad, and that's it. If someone's going through a mental illness or going through some hard part of their life, how are they going to get good grades in school when their needs, like their immediate human needs, are not met? I believe education and academic success comes from like a want, but when our human needs, like our emotional needs and our food needs, like what we feed ourselves, we need fuel to learn. Ever since going through an eating disorder and witnessing people around me, seeing what they're doing to get through their school or their semester. Sometimes I would recognize that they maybe weren't even eating 3 meals a day because they'd get too busy. Even in hustle culture right now, with people who are high achievers or people who can't focus really on their wants because their needs aren't met, they really distract themselves from their needs. And I think that's really important to talk about because our needs are what kind of flourishes our wants. We need a lot of connection, and we need a lot of love, and we need belonging, and we need food to fuel ourselves. We need, shelter, water, but humans emotionally need a lot of things that sometimes they're not given, and they won't kind of reach out to get because maybe their want is to do good on a test, so they won't talk to someone for like 2 or 3 days, or they won't eat the 3 meals a day, or they won't sleep for a good amount of hours, so they put their academic success over their needs, and that kind of shows the results of, their needs not being met. And I believe that if we take care of ourselves, we can definitely take care of our wants, and we can do it in a positive way. Who has helped me, I guess, throughout this experience is myself. I needed to recognize what I needed. I listened to podcasts, I watched YouTube videos about eating disorders, I read 2 amazing books, The Fuck It Diet and More Than Just a Body. I've seen health professionals, I think 6 or 7 so far. I talk about it with my friends, I'm open about it. Like, letting that be in my life and letting that be a big part of where I am now, I think deciding that I want to learn more about it. You need to notice that you can't recover until you want to. Because you can hear all of these voices from these shows, these books, these podcasts, your family, you can hear them. But when you really want to recover, that's when you put your actions in, and that's when you see kind of results. And words can create thoughts. Like, there was a time where I would listen to podcasts and videos and be like, okay, I want to do that someday. But I didn't put it into action. And I think it wasn't until I got professional help that I was like, well, if all these people are working for me and working towards my life, then I definitely want to put in the effort to show that they're making a change in people's lives. All these professionals that I don't have to pay for because it's with the university, I want to show them that their work means a lot to me by doing the work and putting actions towards what they're telling me. And it shows them that they're important. And showing people that they're important, their career, their job, their passion is important for others, that's when they want to continue that job and they want to serve others. And you can make someone feel so loved by putting actions towards what they say and learning from other people and showing them that you care by wanting to change and wanting to be better. And I think that's beautiful, and I think that is a big part of love as well. Last time I saw my counselor, she talked to me about when my eating disorder thoughts come up is usually when I feel like my life is out of control, like restricting is controlling what you eat. Exercise is showing like, hey, I can control the number on the scale. And when I feel like my life is out of control, that part overtakes me and overwhelms me, and then I need to want to feel in control. That short-term gratification from working out or restricting is very short-term, and in the end it leaves you hungry, it leaves you diminishing, it leaves you focused on your body and trying to cope with these things with restricting and with controlling how your body looks. You're practicing something society put on you, and you're practicing something that doesn't serve value to you or other people. Once I notice that, hey, these emotions are taking over me, and then I'm no longer in control, then I have to sit with these emotions. Because when I sit with my emotions, they become less scary. People don't want to face their emotions because it's hard, and it is hard. Like, there's so many things you don't want to feel, but like you have to because you're human. And when we don't want to feel, we really aren't saying, hey, I want to be present in the human experience. When we're fearful of emotions, we're fearing being human. I want to live my life fully human and realize that it's okay to be imperfect, and that I'm living through this part of my life for a purpose, and that these feelings will contribute to something amazing I do in the future. My dietitian has challenged me to enjoy cooking. I definitely do like cooking a lot more than I used to. I don't say I like it all the time, but I definitely like feeling creative in the kitchen because you can make these creations. All of these tastes and foods that you like, and you put it into one dish and you're like, oh, I love this because it's mine and I made it. And it makes you feel good. I loved eating out, and now I would kind of rather cook for myself, and I rather create my own creations, because at the end of the day, those are mine. Some of my biggest supporters, like aside from the professionals and everything, were my roommates. I told them about my eating disorder. I told them about Bethany. They started screaming, "Fuck you, Bethany!" Or I have a little page on the fridge that says, "Fuck you, Bethany." But also I have to decide that I'm keeping myself in a place of restriction, and Bethany isn't doing it. I'm the one doing it. But Bethany's thoughts are in my head. So I can now realize when she's in my head and decide that, hey, since I'm in control of myself, then I will create something without restricting, because I don't want to be in a life where Bethany controls me. Like, hey, Bethany, you're not me, and I'm not going to allow you to do this to me. So then I become stronger. I could have never been this strong without Bethany. I can hear these thoughts, and thoughts can come in my head, and I can realize, hey, this isn't me, and what I will do is what I feel is valuable to me, and that is not what is valuable to Bethany, and that's okay. But me just realizing this as something that isn't even negative, but something that is positive, because I can take control over my life again, but I am myself, and I'm not listening to Bethany. But she can be there. I'll allow her to come in, but I won't allow her to come out through my actions. I've noticed that people can have disordered eating behaviors, but that doesn't mean they have an eating disorder. I think that you feel like you're going into an eating disorder when it takes over your daily life, when you get that anxious feeling about your body, and anxious feeling about what you eat, and anxiety about what's on the scale, when you have anxiety about what you look like, seeing yourself as a body rather than a soul, and deciding I need to change that because society thinks I should to fit in and be loved. That's when I think an eating disorder comes. Your actions show the eating disorder, but those anxieties behind your actions, that's an eating disorder. When your daily routine, you wake up and it's just there. And sometimes the only way to escape it is going to sleep. But I remember with times it would be so hard to go to sleep, because when you're alone in bed and the lights are off and you close your eyes, and then the voices come into your head, and you think about what you ate today, you think about what you're going to eat tomorrow, you think about every little thing in your day, and in the end of the day, it doesn't matter. When you're on your deathbed, are you going to remember the calories? Does it matter how much you exercise that day? Experiences with people and seeing life fully and loving life fully is what you're going to remember. And how can you love life fully and fully be present in your life when you're constantly in the past and the future, thinking about what you're going to eat, what you didn't eat, what you should have eaten, what you didn't get done? What's important to me is when I look back at my life on my deathbed, I have a day left or something, and I just think, wow, I've created so many memories and experiences, and it's contributed to my well-being and who I am and what I value, and I've given to so many people. And I think when you decide to put your soul first rather than your body, that's when you experience life. Putting your soul first is when you decide that, hey, I'm more than just a body. I'm someone who can contribute to the world, and I want to give to others. I want to show them that I'm passionate about life. And I think when you start to be passionate about your own life, when you start living the present, that's when you find yourself. Long-lasting effects I've experienced with my eating disorder: perfectionism and inflexibility, and being very strict, being very judgmental. Even if I don't think I am, I definitely am. Definitely fat phobic, I was at least, where maybe I'd have the fat phobic thoughts, but I wouldn't say it out loud. But still, it's there. I can't blame myself for it. I've been conditioned by society to think this way. I'm going to recondition my brain, and I'm doing that. I'm doing my job right now by kind of noticing that, hey, I don't want to live like that, and I don't think that brings value to me and who I am. I want to see people for who they are, not their outside. A lot of people think about their surface. How can I control it? How can I change what I look like? People are not what they look like. They're their soul. They're who they are. I think if we want to change, it could be something inside ourselves that we would want to change, rather than changing or restricting our body to a certain expectation. I definitely did a lot of black and white thinking, and that's still a part of me that I'm going to try to condition to be more optimistic and more open-minded and see things with more complexity. But I definitely was black or white. I'd go to a conclusion right away. If I ate this bad food, I'm bad. If I don't work out, I'm not consistent. If I don't work out, I'm not perfect and I am not enough. If I don't work out, I'm not going to my goals. it would be just like going to instantly good or bad, and I don't want to think like that anymore because it doesn't serve me and it doesn't serve the world. What the heck, that's a lot of judgment. I think just letting things be what they are without a negative or positive connotation can make a life free. Like, I want to be freed from those, the should, the shouldn't, the good, the bad, the rules. That's what it is, really, the rules. I don't want to be tied down to something that restricts me from being who I want to be and who I am. So in the book More Than a Body, I read something that said when you are in an eating disorder, you see yourself in third person. So it takes you outside of your body. The first person point of view, you can really come back to yourself and realize who you are and what's important to you. And when you live inside your body and you feel your body and you let your body be what it is instead of trying to change it all the time and see it and judge it, using your energy to judge yourself does not serve you purpose and does not serve others purpose around you, because when you judge yourself, you start judging other people, and I don't want to continue that habit. So I'm definitely conditioning my brain, reconditioning my brain, exercising it to live in a way where I don't want to be judged, so why would I judge others? If we're all imperfect, then let us be what we are. Another thing I've learned about is comparing and comparison. And I've compared myself to a lot of people during an eating disorder, and it's competitive and it's manipulative and it wants you to do something but doesn't give you a reward. And you see someone else and you want to be that way, so you try your best, your hardest, you put so much energy towards it, and you're never going to get there. So what is the reason to do this? Why would I try to look like Kim Kardashian? My little Asian body and my genetics will never get there. I think comparing can lead to living for someone else and living for a purpose that isn't yourself, and I don't want to do that anymore. I think that eating disorder is definitely a slow suicide. It's killing your body, but it's also kind of kills you. I've never felt so not myself until I went through an eating disorder where everything I cared about was too restricting and wanting to look a certain way, and what that comes to is fear. An eating disorder is a fear that you will not be loved or accepted, because society puts it in your mind through advertising and wanting your money that you are not enough until you look this way. This is how you will be loved by people. This is how you can get these great relationships. This is how you will be loved by conforming, creating, molding yourself into something that is acceptable. People really love you when you can really feel belonged and loved, supported, accepted. When you are yourself, and once you feel that love, that long-term love, then that's where you feel like you are truly loved. So I don't think love can be surface level, and I don't think it ever will, because it's deeper than that. How are we going to feel like we belong or that we love, like these deep feelings that are actually needs? Brene Brown says these are needs for people. That only comes from being yourself, and that acceptance is when you're yourself and people love that. I think that's really beautiful, to be so effortlessly you, and people want to see that, and they think that you are important because you are you, and it's that simple, nothing else. I think I'm strong because of Bethany. I don't think I want to put energy in hating her when I could put energy in loving myself, loving my past self, forgiving my past self, and deciding that I trust the process and I trust what I'm going through. The universe is always on our side. We have to go through these intense challenges because we need to grow, and we need to go through those to feel the highs. Trusting that if you are being who you are, that is enough. And who you are will not be Bethany's thoughts. The more you learn about your mental illness, the more you can decide that that isn't you. And you can decide, hey, I'm living with this mental illness that kind of pops into my head sometimes, but that's not me. And when I live with it, I can learn to see myself more. I have control over my life and myself because I know who I am, and I know that my mental illness does not have to show in my actions. And on some days, it might take over more than usual. You can decide that, hey, you are not your mental illness, and this is a powerful feeling. There's no mistakes. There's no mistakes in life, because when the bad days come, that means you're going to learn so much about yourself and the world. That is what life is. all about learning. I think it's so beautiful to have connections with these things in life that maybe were negative in the past, but you see them as positive because you can grow from them. And truly living life is when you see things as opportunities to grow. There's purpose to my eating disorder. There's purpose to my mental illness. There's a reason it's here. It's for me to be stronger and feel stronger. And I don't have to feel strong by exercising or lifting weights. I can feel strong by overcoming these thoughts that could try to control me. Because all my eating disorder life, it's been like, I need control. I feel like I need to control something. And I felt like I was in control when I could restrict and exercise, but in reality, my eating disorder was in control of me. Regaining that control and deciding, you know what, I'm going to sit with what's happening in my life, and I'm going to act on what's important to me, what will service me, so then I can service others. When we decide that we can be self-compassionate and we can learn to love ourselves, that's when we can learn to service others, right? We cannot give to others until we let ourselves give to ourselves. Immediately when we do something for ourselves, we're doing something for others, because when we put our courage and bravery and compassion and love, we're giving towards the world just by being ourselves and being happy with who we are. I think people are their soul, never their surface. Lastly, I want to say you are good enough, and you're good enough on your bad days, and you're good enough on your good days. And throughout my eating disorder, and actually even without my eating disorder, there's been a lot of me talking about how I'm not enough, so I'm enough when I get to this goal. But when we decide to live in the present and decide that we are enough in the present, that's where we decide to do actions. When you are enough, you are important, and you're needed. If you sat through this whole thing, you get a round of applause. Next time I see you, you get a hug. If you or I don't have COVID. Thank you, homies, for watching. Let me know in the comments how you felt about it. Thank you.